Hello, it's me, and I thought I would buy this 2x2 gear shift cube. I actually just got this recently. I've been looking at this from afar, and I thought it looked kind of cool. It has a nice little Mandelbrot type pattern over here. I'm not a huge fan of the gear cubes, but I figure I've got a bunch of other types of gear cubes, including a 3x3 one. Thought I'd try my hand at a 2x2 one. So looking at it, it's kind of a neat puzzle. When you turn it, it has this really cool pattern of turning here. I mean, everything is associated with everything else. So even if you don't scramble it, or even if you do scramble it, it gets back really easily. If you just keep turning it enough times, it eventually gets solved by itself. So it's a neat little kind of a conversation piece. So it's a cool little puzzle. Anyway, obviously to actually scramble this puzzle is you have a little bit more going on. So you have the shift portion of it where you pull this out, and now when you turn it, you break the association of these pieces with these pieces. You can shift it in that position, in this position, and behind here too. So what's the best way of solving this? Well, bear in mind, it's a trick. Like with any of these puzzles, it's not that it takes a whole lot of intelligence, it's just a trick. Sometimes we call them algorithms, sometimes we call them commutators, but what it comes down to is like learning a magic trick. You can get very good at it, you can get very fast at it, but it's really just a trick. The issue happens, or the skill happens, to figure out the trick. Once you do that, the rest is easy. So first thing to do is let's look at the association of these pieces. If I were to turn this piece 180 degrees, so that's what I'll do, so let's bring the purple back up, you'll find that when I do that, the big corner then solves itself with it. It still is in conjunction with that. As a matter of fact, all of these big corners are still maintain their relative position in conjunction with each other. So 180 degree turns keeps them lined up with each other. Oop. This got out of sync here. Okay, same thing with these small corners here. So if I turn a small corner 180 degrees, same thing, they maintain the relative color, the relative position with each other. So that's going to be important when it comes to the solve. Okay, so let's just go ahead and scramble it and see what kind of a trick we have to get this thing solved. Alright, we'll do this, we'll do a shift solve. We'll now take away the association of these pieces with these. Okay, we'll do up above here, scramble these. So this is really a brilliantly designed puzzle. Who would have thought to make it like that? A couple turns here. Now I'll go to the back and do our turning over here and a couple turns here. Boom. So now these are sort of they're not really in association with each other much at all. Okay, so what is the trick? How do we solve this? Well, the first thing to do is go ahead and just keep turning these pieces around until you have a large corner and a small corner lined up with each other. So one of them has to be there, possibly even more. So we're just going to keep this going around until we see something like that. Aha! So we've got something over here. This orange, red, and yellow and blue. So these are lined up, and they're the correct colors. All sides of these two have to line up. So the next step is let's go ahead and get a side, and to do that, since these two are lined up, let's line up these two. And we're going to do that by pulling it away from these two. So we're going to go bang. So put this to your left and just do your shift over here on the right. So then it's just a matter of keep spinning this until the orange is all lined up. Eventually it will. It has no choice, it has no free will in the matter. We are all just automatons, we are all just gears going through the machine of life. Okay, there it is. So this is all in association here, so you just simply put it together. Congratulations, you've got one half of it done. So how do we deal with these? Well, first thing, let's isolate it. So let's move this away from this side. Now what you're going to do is you're going to spin this around until you have, well, you've got a couple possibilities. Either two corners are going to be in, a big one and a small one. Three are going to be in, or they're all going to be in. So let's see where we're at. So keep turning this around until, aha! So these two are in. So now that you've got these two in, where do we go from here? Well, let's bring this down. So you'll find the only two that are out are these two. Now you might have less than that, but it's either going to be one of these or both of these. So the way to do this is, let's go ahead and put this short one in first. Line it up with the side where three are in except for the one corner that's out. We're going to do a small corner then large corner. So now that we have this here, let's go ahead and isolate this. So what we're going to do is this. Think of this as kind of like a parody with this particular puzzle. We're not going to be able to solve it with just this one here on a side, but we can solve a side if two corners are out. So I'm going to take this rotation and translate it, whoops, first I'm going to drop it, and translate it into a rotation of these two, and this will be our side. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to remember how when you rotated this large corner by 180 degrees, it lined up with this corner? That's what we're going to be focusing on. So we're going to rotate this corner 180 degrees, and we're going to see how many rotations of 180 degrees does it take to get this to line up with these here. It's going to take this out. And you may think, well, what have we achieved with that? We're simply going from here to here. The reason why that's going to be important is because after we put these in conjunction with each other, we're then going to take and put these in conjunction with each other and take this one out. So these two will be out. So I'll show you what that means. We're going to be turning this piece, and we're going to be turning this and see how many turns of this, or how many times does it take to rotate this. So by turning this, it's going to be rotating this piece. This is what we're going to be focusing on. And we're going to keep doing that until this keeps rotating by 180 degrees. And ask ourselves the question, how many times does this have to rotate 180 degrees by moving this, either clockwise or counterclockwise, to get all these pieces in line with each other? And what we're looking for is we're looking for either 2 rotations of this piece or 4 rotations of this piece. If it's 1 or 3 or more than 4, then we can't use it. So we start off either clockwise or counterclockwise, and we're seeing which direction is going to get us either 2 rotations of this or 4 rotations of this. So we'll do clockwise to start off with. So we'll rotate this, and we're focusing on this piece here. So that's 1 rotation, not lined up yet. 2 rotations. We see that it's 2 rotations. If it's 2 rotations, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this back by half the number of rotations that it took to move this forward. So because it was 2, we're going to move it back by 1. So rotate it back, boom, by 1. If it was 4 rotations, we'd have to move it back by 2. If it was 1 or 3 rotations, we simply put it back and we go the other way. It can't be that. So now that we've done that, it's going to take 1 more rotation that's clockwise to get all these in conjunction with each other. We don't want to do that with this side. With this side. This has already been taken out. So we blast this down, and now we're going to pull it out to the right here. We're going to complete the rotation on this side, but it'll take this corner out, and that's good because then we'll have 2 out. So now we'll go forward here by a whole rotation, and boom, that's in. Now that that's in, we move it back in. So we basically took the parity from one corner and translated it onto these 2 corners by rotating it on this side, taking this out, and then pulling it back by 1 so it's not completely in, pulling it on this side, then putting it completely in, and translating it into this being taken out. So now that we've done that, we simply take this side and pull it up. What we then do is we just keep rotating this around until they're all in, and it will always be all in. Again, no free choice in these gears. It's going to be an orange side, so we just keep turning this until all orange is in, put it down, and you got it. Now this side is done exactly the same way. There's no difference. Just make sure that we're all lined up here, but instead of rotating it with the large corner, I'm going to be rotating this corner, but we're going to see how many rotations of the small corner it takes. So we pull it out. We can start either clockwise or counterclockwise, and again, you're looking for an even number of rotations for it to work. So 1 rotation, 2 rotations, 3 rotations, 4 rotations. Okay, we're at 4, so that's not going to work. We have to pull it back 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it's not completed by 1, by 2, or 4, we have to stop. So then we go the other way. We're looking at this, remember? 1 rotation, 2 rotations. So once again, it took 2 rotations. If it's 2 rotations, I pull it back the opposite way by 1. So rotate this back the other way. It keeps this out, and this isn't quite in yet. Put it down here, blast it out here, and then once again, do put it back in. Now let's say you forgot which direction it goes. It doesn't really matter. Turn it any way you want, and just wait until it's all green. It gets all into the green, turn it. Obviously I did it the different way, but boom, now that's in. So it doesn't matter. If I just did it the 1 rotation the other way, the correct way, it would have been in, but it doesn't matter. Pull this out. So now we have these 2 lined up. These are not. Whoops, pull this up here, and keep turning until it's all orange and boom. Done and done. Here's an example of if I can get it into 4. So I'm going to rotate I'm going to turn this until this is rotated by 180 degrees and see how many it takes. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is an example of 4. So 4 rotations of this. So now I'm going to pull this back to rotate this twice. So that's going to be 1, 2. So when I rotated this twice, I just pulled it back by 1. When I rotated it, when it took 4 rotations to bring this all in, I put it back by 2. So move this here, and now I'm going to move it forward again by 2, 1, 2, which will solve that. And now that puts these in conjunction with each other, and keep going until the yellow one is in, and done. So I just wanted to demonstrate when it happens with 2 rotations or 4 rotations. And again, so that is the trick. Now that you know the trick, keep trying it. In my mind, this is the easiest, most simple way of solving this puzzle. Thanks for watching.